Hello, Mr. Zachary.
What's going on, Edward?
Welcome back.
Yep, been a while.
So, based off our last podcast, I want to try something new or continue on with something.
Okay.
Would you rather?
Do
Would you rather wear somebody else's dirty underwear or use their toothbrush?
I get to pick the person?
See, that's where I'm at. Like, I think I should get to pick the person.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're either gonna. Well, so then the other question is, does it have to be like, it has to be the same biological sex as me, or can I wear like women's underwear?
Well, you already wear women's underwear, so what's the difference?
Well, yeah, but the difference is right now is if I wear women's underwear that I've already worn, it's just my balls in there. But like, if I get to pick somebody else's underwear, like my balls will be rubbing up against where somebody else's.
Yeah, but see, then you would pick somebody like Scarlett Johansson, and everybody already knows where we're
Well,
going
the
on
problem is
next.
though with her panties though, I'd have to wear them on my face.
Let's say Rosie O'Donnell.
I'm definitely wearing her underwear, not using her toothbrush.
I think I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one.
Well, I mean, the only reason why I say I would wear her underwear is because I could just take a bath and it goes away. Plus, her underwear are probably going to be 2 sizes too large for me. So, I mean, is it really going to touch anything, or is it just going to kind of hang there?
Be saggy drawers.
Exactly, right? I mean, if the crotch hangs down to my knee, I mean, we're good.
What if you
But
just
her toothbrush, I don't really want to get that involved. That's just gross.
huh?
Well, but like, okay,
Huh?
what if it was us, right? Like, what if we had to trade underwear, right? Would you rather trade underwear with me or use my toothbrush?
Oh,
Right. See, that's gross, right?
I'm using your toothbrush.
I mean, my mouth is pretty clean, not gonna lie.
You have pretty teeth, so I
They're
know you
not
take.
straight, like by any means, but I guarantee they're fucking clean.
But
I,
that's the thing. They look clean, so I'd probably go with
well,
that. And I see what you eat sometimes, so I'm gonna go with the toothbrush just because of the fact that the drawers are probably like skid mark row.
yeah, I mean, I will be honest, full disclosure, I do not own a pair of white underwear.
I don't either. I think
You
the
know what?
closest
Like,
color I got is gray.
yeah, gray. That's as close as I'll go. I just have this feeling that if I wear white underwear, it's not attractive. Like
The
I
old
wouldn't
tidy
even
whities.
yeah, I wouldn't even want to wash them. I would just throw them away after wearing them.
I wonder if like some generation is gonna bring back tidy whities and think like this is cool.
I don't think the person that invented tidy whities thinks they're cool.
No, that was a baller on a budget, man.
No, that's probably like an army guy. He was like, "Here, I can make these underwear real cheap," and the government was like, "Cheap, sold."
Sold. You ready, homeboy?
Let's do it.
Let's hit it. Go!
Woo!
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
And here we are again for another shit show. Welcome to the train wreck. First time listener, you're going to have fun. If you're a repeating listener, you already know what it is. So enjoy the ride.
And welcome back.
Bro, I really don't like bringing him up because of the fact that I think he's a complete crybaby, but new shit is arising for Mr. Deshaun Watson. Mr.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson is under a fucking microscope right now. The latest report that I'm reading, he's at 13 allegations for sexual misconduct or possible sexual assault.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, apparently he has a masseuse fetish to where he likes to lay naked and let his ding ding touch them. The serpent must be like just flopping over and touching their wrist or something.
Dude, I don't know. This whole thing is weird to me. I don't fully understand why celebrity men, I mean, we can call him a celebrity. I mean, he's basically
Right.
the face of this franchise. So I don't understand why celebrity men who have the type of money and the means and the connections that Deshaun Watson has, I still don't understand why we're picking up masseuses on Instagram.
And first, before we go any further, remember everybody, these are allegations, okay? We're not putting the man guilty, not guilty right
Oh
now.
yeah, no,
We're,
no,
we're strictly just presenting the fact or the information that's been presented to the world already, and
right,
we're just giving it a breakdown, okay? So, like you said, there's speculation that he's been messaging masseuses, however he's met them in some form or fashion on Instagram, DMing them, flying them out from Atlanta, Miami,
right,
some here in Houston themselves. Like he is booking them, and this goes as far back as I think summer of last year,
okay,
and he just gets a massage from them, and supposedly he is persuading them to touch his penis and rub here, rub there. He's tried to supposedly force one to give him oral sex. This is all weird because of the timing of Deshaun Watson storyline, right?
yeah.
He said he's not playing for Houston. He wants to be traded, and then a couple months later, boom, one of my opinion, one of the sleaziest lawyers in Houston, Tony
Ooh,
Busby.
wow, that's strong.
It is because he's been under a lot of stuff to where it's kind of sketchy shit.
Okay, I mean, I know he's loaded. I know that.
Oh, dude's totally loaded. I mean, damn, he's a lawyer. But out of nowhere, one lawyer is taking all these cases. I don't know the how all this is possible or what he's doing to get all these cases, if he's hitting up other cities and states that have been supposedly talking about this, and he's taking all the civil cases, but he's leading the charge against Deshaun Watson. All this comes at one time when the Texans are saying, we're not trading you. There's conspiracy theories, and then there's other people that are saying that the fact that this is possibly true, like this kid has gone completely crazy and his fetish has gotten out of hand.
Well, right. That's kind of more of what I guess I'm getting at is that, like, he's forcing, according to what they're saying, he's forcing these random women to do things that there are already women that you can pay them to do those things.
Wait, you can pay for that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not technically legal, but I mean, and then on top of that, like he's a decent looking dude, right? I'm sure there's like just a gaggle of women ready to touch his penis. Like he doesn't have to force these. I guess that's what I don't understand. He's according to these reports, he's forcing women to sleep with him or touch him or whatever. And I guarantee in the city of Houston, there are a bunch of women that are, they would wait in line to do it in a row. I just
Not
don't get it.
not to take his side or go against him or anything, but a massage is a very, in my opinion, a very intimate thing for some people
Yeah.
because of the fact that you have another stranger for the most part touching you, right?
Which is weird. I don't understand the whole
And
massage thing anyway.
maybe there's something that goes off in his brain to where he thinks like, oh shit, she likes me. She's touching me. Let's see.
Kind of like what lonely rich guys do at strip clubs.
Right. Just throw millions of dollars away at it. But like, and I hear a lot of people and they're saying stuff along the lines of, well, if she's in Atlanta and she gets a text message or a DM, what did she expect? That he's just going to fly
No,
her out?
fuck
No, it
that.
doesn't work like that. Like,
Not at all. The girl can always say no. This
absolutely,
is such stupid
right?
bullshit.
Supposedly they Tony Busby is supposed to come out with evidence that he's submitting to the Houston Police Department.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of evidence he's going to present unless these women have each and every one of these sessions like recorded, whether it be audio or visual.
It could just be witness accounts, right? It could be their sworn statements.
But that's the thing; it's just all hearsay, right?
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean that's how it works in like normal court, right? Like when we watch on Judge Judy, right? You're not supposed to use like, but I'm saying you're not supposed to use like a witness statement that isn't there. But in a criminal proceeding, I mean, usually it is, hey, this person says you did this. You know what I mean?
Bro, he would get roasted by Judge Judy.
Well, I mean, look, hey, Judge Judy's my boo. I'm not going to talk bad about her. If she's listening, hey, I'd wife you up in a second. My wife already knows.
I
We're
think I
good.
saw that Judge Judy listens to us,
Oh, well, you know what?
along with the list of everybody else.
That would make my fucking day.
Um,
I'm not even kidding.
But so the other question that other people bring in is the fact that they're going to civil court and not, or it's a civil lawsuit. It's not a
Yeah.
criminal lawsuit, and people are like, oh well, these are just gold diggers. They're just wanting some money and blah blah blah. But also at the same time, from what I'm learning as this whole thing goes on, is that with criminal lawsuits, you have to have evidence provided for this to go through. Whereas in civil lawsuit, you don't have to have really much of any lawsuit. And any lawyers that are listening, and if I'm wrong on this, I do apologize. Please let me know and let me correct this.
Yeah, the burden of proof is much lower in civil court than it is in criminal. Because, I mean, in a criminal case, you have to convince 12 jurors wholeheartedly, yes, this is what happened.
Right.
There can't be any shadow of a doubt. But in a civil case, the judge kind of just determines, you know what, you could be liable for this or you could be the cause of this. You're going to have to pay for it.
It's so weird. And with all this going on, teams aren't backing down. Teams are still interested in Deshaun Watson. Now, I think the number of teams have maybe dropped, but there are still teams that are supposedly strongly being aggressive trying to get Deshaun Watson still.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like with the NFL, they do their own investigating.
Yep.
So I feel like the NFL either has known about this or they have investigated it to the fullest extent. And if they had found, this is speculation on my part, but had they found any substance, I believe they would have suspended Deshaun Watson already. I can't remember exactly how they handled the Ben Roethlisberger allegations. I don't think they suspended him because he was never technically found guilty.
Right.
So it sounds like that's maybe that's where they are, where they're just kind of standing back and saying, hey, well, we didn't find anything, but if he gets found, well, I mean, I don't know. If he gets found criminally likely, then they would suspend him, right? Criminally guilty, I guess. But if it's civil, I don't know what the NFL says about that.
So the reports I read this morning is the NFL is still investigating right now, and he still stands a chance of commissioner exemption, or not exemption.
The Ray Rice thing.
Yes.
Okay.
He still stands a chance of being suspended by the NFL, not by the Texans, but by the NFL. So we might see something along the lines of like a Zeke Elliott case where he was suspended for 6 games or something like that. If something comes up to where they find out that there's some truth behind the allegations.
Okay.
This is going to be a very interesting thing because this kind of puts the Texans in a pickle. This puts Deshaun in a pickle. This puts everybody who's trying to be involved in this whole thing. Like, this is a messy situation.
Yeah. I mean, this is proof, I guess, to any kid in the draft, any kid, well, I mean, any guy in the NFL, like, hey man, just keep your nose clean because they will come get you for anything. Whether he did this or not, you have to know, being an NFL player, you're a target.
There's always something on your back to where people are going to try to attack you, and I think that's gone on for decades.
Well, I mean, since the contracts for these NFL players became like public knowledge, where, oh my God, that's $100 million man, or oh my God, he just signed $240 million or whatever.
Right.
Now people are thinking $240 million, he's got change, I'm gonna go get him.
Yeah, because look at what was it, 2 years ago after Kareem Hunt, like how many cases of assault charges, sexual misconduct, stuff like that came across the board just in the NFL. I mean, not even to talk about NBA and MLB. Like, so many cases come out because some women, and again, I'm not attacking women on this or anything. Some of the cases did come out to be true, to where the players were out of line and they did the wrong. And then there were other cases of where it was just women trying to come and get money.
Yeah.
And it's a poor society that we live in whenever false things like this come to try to destroy somebody who worked so hard to get something. But at the same time, somebody who works so hard thinks that they're above the law and above everybody else, and they can just do whatever they want. That's piss poor. Right.
Yeah. There's blame on both sides.
Absolutely.
The reason why there are people out there targeting these people to try to get money is because they know there are people that have this money that are total sleazeballs.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is.
That I think another thing that comes into factor is the psyche of the whole limelight, like being somebody who's under the spotlight. Take somebody like Vince Young. Vince Young went off the deep end, right?
Yeah.
Came out of college being an absolute stud, comes in the NFL, starts looking pretty good, but then he starts falling off big time, maybe from concussions, maybe from just being in the spotlight or whatever, and just goes completely crazy. Loses his NFL job, loses his job at UT as some type of coordinator out there, gets DWIs, DUIs, all this stuff, and just is now, I think, working Pee Wee leagues or something. I don't know.
I don't know where he is now, but yeah, that's a pretty sad case. I mean, I understand that we live in Texas, so it's kind of a bigger deal for us. But to me, Vince Young was probably one of the best college quarterbacks I had ever seen.
Hands down.
Not necessarily just, throwing the ball and reading the defense and threading the needle, but just being an athlete and being able to take over a game just because he had the ball in his hands. And you're right, like that first season, we did see some of that in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, I think this goes to like the mental health crisis that we have in the United States, that, we're not taking care of our people.
No.
Mentally. Like, hey, you got a broken leg, we know how to fix that. Hey, you broke your finger, or hey, you got a dislocated shoulder, we know how to fix that. You mean you hear voices and you're scared of the dark? Like, we don't know how to fix that.
This is something that I feel like the NFL is maybe touching on, because you don't hear a lot of news on it, but if they're not, they need to do a lot better job of working the psych department. And I know the problem is like it being there, it's the fact of getting the players to go there. Because some players don't want to admit that they have some type of problem, just like every other human being that has some type of addiction or any type of issues. They have a problem of accepting it and going forward with it. So,
well, it's the stigma by society too, right? The idea of, oh my God, I'm going to admit that I have a mental issue,
right?
And it's like, yeah, that's the first step to getting help. And I think until the stigma changes in the United States, we're not gonna see any breakthroughs in that development. I just realized we're getting really deep.
Yeah, we really did.
We're trying to change societal ways in the United States. Who the hell are we?
But all 9 listeners of this, hopefully something hits on this to where it can get spread, because this is an issue, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We've known people, we've seen people that have fallen into this category, and as an outside looking in, it's always something to where you go, shit, could I have done something? Could I have been a lending ear? Could I have given information or something like that? Like, it's always the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Well,
right.
You know what? If you and I can help stop the shoulda, coulda, woulda and do something right now, well, damn it, let's try. So any of y'all listening right now, if you know somebody, if you fall in this category, don't be ashamed. Go get help.
Yeah, anybody that is in our viewership or listening, anybody that knows us, send us an email. We got an email. We got Instagram, Facebook. Send us a message.
You can't miss us. We're everywhere.
We're everywhere, and we'll lend an ear, man. We will listen. We would rather go to lunch with you guys than to hear about your funeral or go to your funeral. That's where we are. So, that being said, who's cutting onions in here, man? Oh, so on my phone now, I just got an alert. Apparently, Purdue's Pro Day is going on. Do you know who goes to Purdue?
Who's that?
It'd be Mr. Rondell Moore.
Rondell Moore. I've been looking at a little bit.
All 5'7" of him. He just did a 42.5-inch vertical jump. Wow. That guy is amazing.
Speaking of Pro Day, and I text you on this. Why the fuck are we caring about Trey Lance?
I told you it's because of his measurables, man.
His fucking pro day was a complete joke. A complete joke. I get it. The dude is a monster among men as far as height and stature, but his
Yeah.
play is garbage. No defenders, and he's back throwing the shoulders. He's hitting the back shoulder for no reason. Dude's wide open. You can't hit him square in the fucking chest. And then these stop routes. Nothing but stop routes. Why the fuck are we looking at stop routes? Fucking
Man, 'cause they're crisp, man. Dude,
Okay.
he's gonna get in the NFL.
Show me a game
because
to
of
where a
his
stop
size.
route happens to where there's no defenders around and it's just a lob ball. Show me. Because that was complete garbage.
Look, you know how I feel. I don't like him either. Not that I don't like him. I don't like him as a player. I wouldn't draft him. He's not somebody that I'm interested in.
He's not even a fourth round pick for me.
Well, according to Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, he's going number 4 to the Atlanta Falcons.
Show me a perfect draft that Mel Kiper's ever presented.
Well, I don't like Mel Kiper.
Neither do I.
I'm just saying, it just popped up on my news feed, so I just clicked on it because I thought, you know what? We're talking about rookies. We're talking about pro days. I mean,
it's fucking garbage.
I don't disagree with his first 3 picks, though.
So I got to stay on top of it though, because of the fact, like, I think what's his name, Carson Wentz, is a very unique player that came out of the FCS.
Okay.
I get the domination of North Dakota State. Hence, I'm
We
a Bearcat.
know.
Yeah, like North Dakota State is unbeatable for the most part,
They are a
right?
great team.
You put them in FBS to go against Bama or any of them teams, they're
Get
getting destroyed. Trey Lance in the FBS would not even be on anybody's radar. So why is he on a radar for the F? Just because he plays for the FCS?
I disagree with you.
Okay.
I disagree with you only because he's got size, strength. I guess he has a strong arm. You're saying that in a game he doesn't. So
I went off 2019 footage because there's very little in 2020 of him playing because of fucking Rona.
Yeah.
But again, though, the FCS is a completely different game compared to the FBS. Like,
yeah, it's a different speed. I mean, I get it, but
you have players that don't get starting roles in FBS that go to FCS and just completely dominate. Trey Lance has been in North Dakota State his entire career for 3 years or whatever, and he had one great year.
yeah. But I mean, so did Carson Wentz, right? Carson Wentz had one great year. Now he's in the NFL, and honestly, it looks like the Colts are going to be challenging for the division.
And I can't wait for him to get to the NFL, and then I get hate mail. I can't wait. And I'm just still going to stick to my guns and just say the dude is complete garbage.
Well, I mean, I will go out there and say that I didn't like Russell Wilson when he got drafted.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I was wrong, obviously.
Why is that?
I mean, I thought he was too small, to be totally honest. I didn't think he had the arm strength. I mean, he hit the gym and got the arm back, or got the arm to where it needed to be. I know he got drafted in MLB and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think it was necessarily for his arm strength. But he proved me wrong. I can say that. I still hate him just because he beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl. But he's a damn good quarterback. I mean, he's in the prime of his career. Is it too early to say he's probably a Hall of Famer?
No, not at all. I 100% agree with you on that.
I think if he has, I mean, like I'm saying, if he retired today, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh,
see, that's tough. I think he needs 2 more seasons.
I don't know. I could almost say yes.
So I mean, but regardless, though, I didn't like him going into the draft, and he might be a Hall of Famer. Like, we're debating if he could be a Hall of Famer. So I was way fucking wrong on that one.
So with us talking about quarterback size and stuff like this, I sent you this a while back. Did you look at Cole Kelly from Southern Louisiana?
Yeah, well, he's 6'7", 260 pounds.
So
like the thinnest 6'7" dude ever.
So is he going to be somebody the NFL looks at?
Well,
he came from Arkansas.
There's a stat that basically any quarterback in the NFL that is over 6'5" has not been successful.
Yeah. What
So
was Jamarcus Russell at?
a bust. That's all I know.
Well, but he was pretty tall though, wasn't he?
Honestly, I don't remember. He was pretty tall. He was pretty fat. He was left-handed and he could sling it. I know that, but
He was 6'6".
okay, so there you go. Any quarterback, from what I understand, any quarterback that is over 6'5", like actually, I mean, not 6'5.5", but actually 6'6", they've never been successful in the NFL.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the problem with Jamarcus Russell, though, was not God-given talent. It was just he didn't like to study anything ever. There was
the
a
DVD.
Report,
the DVD.
Yeah, so there was a report that gave him blank videotape and asked him to go home and watch the videotape and come up with some new offensive schemes and be ready for the defense. And apparently they gave him blank information. There was nothing on the tapes at all.
They were like, "Hey, so Jamarcus, which play do you want to?" Oh, I like all of them. Whatever you think, Coach. I'm down for all of them. They're really good. I think I'll fit into the system.
Yeah, he never saw anything because there was nothing on him.
So notable 6'5" quarterbacks. All right, you ready?
Okay.
And I'll just go with ones that are in the league right now.
All right.
Cam Newton,
Successful.
Carson Wentz,
We'll see.
Big Ben.
Successful.
Other ones that I'm guessing this site is outdated, but Carson Palmer,
I'd say he was successful.
Blake Bortles,
Bust.
Phillip Rivers.
I mean, he can't win in the fourth quarter, but yeah, successful.
Going up, and it only shows two of them. And again, I think, this is as of January of 2017, so they need to update this list. Okay. Joe Flacco at 6'6".
So he's probably the most successful quarterback at 6'6". And what do we think of him?
That's true. I mean, he was the first $100 million quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, when you go back and watch those playoffs,
it was all defense.
Did win the Super Bowl.
It was all defense.
But he played lights out. He played great.
When you got a defense like that, it kind of takes the look of trash away from you a little bit, though.
True. So that defense was pretty stout. But you know who's 6'5"?
Who's that?
Peyton Manning.
Oh Lord. Well, he's not on this list, and he was.
I'm just telling you, he's a successful quarterback, is he not?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I mean, first ballot Hall of Fame right out the gate.
And then Tom Brady. How tall is Tom Brady?
6'4".
6'4". That's exactly right.
At 6'8", who do you think we got? I think you know.
Paxton Lynch.
No.
Oh, it's not Paxton Lynch?
But
fuck that guy.
Comes from your Denver Broncos.
Well, Paxton Lynch was one of them, so the other one is Brock Osweiler.
That is him, sir.
They were both tall as hell.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we failed on both those guys.
Ugh. You would think with your hero as GM or whatever role he has, like he would do a better job at picking QBs.
So I think that's just like dumb fans and dumb media people saying that because...
Is it?
Well, yeah, because name another quarterback that has become the GM of a team and has picked a great quarterback. They don't do that. Most players, like the only person I think that is doing extremely well at drafting is John Lynch. And who's his quarterback? They haven't drafted a quarterback worth of shit either.
Well,
and they're already ready to move off of Jimmy G, right?
Right.
So they were trying really hard to get every quarterback that was available in San Francisco because they know that that's a weak spot.
Oh, they didn't try it for Trubisky.
Well, so that's a player that
has.
I think people are allergic to him or something because I think he's got a great talent.
Bro, how does Chicago say, nah, sorry, Trubisky. I know. We went to the playoffs. Thank you for the new playoff system, but we're going to not re-sign you. Andy Dalton, what's up, dude?
Right, and then if you heard the interviews that they had with Andy Dalton, they said
I'm going to start.
Yeah, he was said, I'm only coming here because they told me I'm the starter.
Oh my God.
Like, who the hell told Andy Dalton he's the starter?
I'm still baffled because of the fact that Nick Foles has been passed around like a bottle of Crown, and Granted, he started in Jacksonville and then breaks his collarbone. And then Jacksonville's like, well, he's busted goods, and we're about to get Trevor Lawrence. Let's go ahead and send him up to Chicago. Chicago gets him, and instead of saying, well, we're not going with Trubisky anymore, we're going to go ahead and start Nick Foles. Nope, they go ahead and pick up
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
So what I thought was funny is they don't really have an offensive line. They want a more mobile quarterback, and they took Andy Dalton. And their backup is Nick Foles.
The fucking Wonder Twins
can't run. Like,
no,
they are statues. They're okay. They're one step above Joe Flacco in mobility.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Right.
But
so, like, if you know the guy can't, like, Trubisky at least can run. Trubisky has some form of talent to maneuver in the pocket. I think Trubisky, I'm hoping that Trubisky goes somewhere else and blows up, because I want the Bears to just be pissed.
He's not go. He signed to the Bills. He's a backup there. We're not going to see him for at least a year.
You're right. I forgot about that.
We're not going to see him for at least a year.
Go over there. He can learn, and maybe he can get a starting job somewhere else. Because
I'm surprised Bill Belichick didn't snatch him up as soon as he hit the market.
Well, I think Bill Belichick is all in for Cam for one more season.
But you can go ahead and get Trubisky right behind him for if Cam fails throughout the season, and then you put him in. Then it's a true battle. What are they going to do? Call Brian Hoyer?
And I feel like that's what they're avoiding. I feel like that's why they didn't go after a veteran quarterback, is because I feel like Cam Newton's ego is so fragile.
Oh yeah,
they cannot even, even though they probably wanted to, they can't have a guy that can push Cam, because I think Cam flourishes when he knows he's the guy, everybody's counting on him, and they're looking to him to win. And I feel like he's going to be better in that situation when it's all on his shoulders. You know what I mean? Where he's not having to look over his shoulder.
Yeah, just because the fact, like, this is weird for New England to be walking on eggshells when it comes to their quarterback. But at the same time, like, the quarterback market is very slim right now. There's not really much to go after. But back to Chicago real quick. I want to know, have you seen what the deal was that they threw at Seattle? I have to know how good this deal was to where Seattle said no.
Well, so it was 3 first rounds, a third round, and 2 starters.
What starters?
Well, that's the thing. They're not going to tell you, right? Because they don't want to let any of their starters know, we were about to trade your ass.
I want to say it was probably Khalil Mack and Allen Robinson. Those are the only 2 that would make sense, unless you want to throw David Montgomery in there.
Okay, but if it was those 2 guys, you're not making that trade?
Oh, I'm making it immediately. Like, as soon as you say the last word, I'm okay, sold.
Yeah, so I feel like it couldn't have been those 2 guys.
What?
Because, I mean, if I can get Khalil Mack and you're giving me 3 first-round picks,
yeah,
I'm probably.
But the story that I read was Pete Carroll was like, "No, I'm not in rebuilding mode." Bitch, you're not even in current building mode. You didn't do anything.
If you take, this is my thing. Why couldn't you do like this, like on draft day? Take those 3 picks, take those 2 starters, and then send those 3 picks down to Houston and get you Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
I mean, then now you got a younger Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And you just rebolstered your defense.
Jesus Christ. Deshaun Watson with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Oh.
All you would need is a decent running back that can stay healthy. I mean,
and they gave Chris Carson a new deal, I think.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you kind of have to. He's the guy. Like,
is he?
He's their feature back.
How many games did he play?
Like 4, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying, in that backfield, who else are you going to give the money to?
You're not wrong, but fuck. And they didn't do anything.
That's a good thing.
They didn't do anything in free agency with the exception of like small role. Your quarterback is bitching about not having an O line, and what do? You get a defensive lineman, and
You completely whiff on the offensive line market.
right.
Like, what a bunch of morons. I mean, to be fair though, are you going to pay Trent Williams $138 million?
I mean,
That guy's 33 years old.
San Francisco did.
Well, I mean, I guess San Francisco did because they know the guy, but like Joe Thuney got $80 million. He's 4 years younger.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So let's see. In 2020, Chris Carson played 12 games.
Okay.
He played 15 in 2019, 14 in 18, and a big whopping 4 in 2017. But in 2017, I can understand because I believe Marshawn was there at that time. So,
Yeah, hold on.
12 games for 141 attempts with 681 yards, 5 touchdowns, fumbled once. Like, he rushed for
but I mean,
43 first downs.
He's the best. He's the best back on that team.
I guess.
So, I mean, you have to pay him because it's either that or you're drafting a running back every year. You're going to draft a running back every year and try to teach him how to do pass blocking.
Well, how is that any different than teams drafting a quarterback every year?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not, but I mean, drafting a quarterback every year, you know what you're drafting a quarterback for. You're drafting a quarterback for a franchise, and there's a bunch of like betting people in the Las Vegas world that say that if they had a franchise, if they were a GM for an NFL franchise, they would draft a quarterback in the first round every year until they got a franchise quarterback. But regardless of what their rookie quarterback or the guy did the year before, they would draft another one every year.
You look at teams and they look at the surprise picks with your Tony Romos, your Dak Prescotts, your Tom Brady's, your Russell Wilson that come in late in the drafts, and they think that they can find that diamond in the rough late in the draft, and so they pick up these quarterbacks. Like I'm going to use the Giants for example. Okay. The Giants picked up Kyle Lauletta, I think in like 2017, 2018, like that, and then the following year they got, or was it? I want to say it was them that they drafted like 3 quarterbacks each year, or 1 quarterback 3 years in a row late in the rounds, and they never really did anything. Now, I could be wrong as far as the Giants being the Giants, but you see that in some teams. Like I know Dallas has done that. They've done it with DiNucci, who actually got to touch the field because of injuries. And then 2018, they drafted a quarterback. I think his name was Mike White. I could be completely wrong on that. Never touched the field. 2019, I think somebody in the late round they had it, and then they dropped him down to practice squad. So that's something that you just see in the behind the scenes with teams that just keep drafting these late round quarterbacks thinking that they're going to be something and they're not. And to me, that hurts you because of the fact that if you already have a good quarterback, you can go ahead and pick up a cornerback, a safety, somewhere else that you're desperately needing depth in to try people out at.
Well, I mean, I think that's the goal, right? I think every year a GM sets out, if they don't have a quarterback, they set out every year in the draft to draft the next guy.
Yeah.
And I think that should be the mentality. I feel like until you have a guy that you can just go ahead, write his name in Sharpie, he's going to be your number one guy at quarterback, I think you have to search for that guy. I think the NFL has proven that if you don't have a quarterback, you can't be successful. I mean, there are, a few instances where defenses were good enough to win a Super Bowl with like a Brad Johnson or a Trent Dilfer or, Peyton Manning with a broken leg. I mean, there were a few instances where that happened, but we can count those on one hand, right?
Yeah.
So it's more often the best quarterback wins the Super Bowl.
So here looking at it, the Giants 2019 took quarterback Daniel Jones. 2018 took Kyle Lauletta. 2017 took David Webb. Like there's an incident with 3 years right there where they picked somebody up and they had Eli for all 3 of those years? No, 2 of those years because he retired going in 2019, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they drafted those guys at the end of Eli's career. So, I mean, It's not like They drafted Eli in 08 or 09, whenever that was, and then they drafted a quarterback in 10 and 11 and 12. Like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it seems like that is the norm for GMs, is to draft a quarterback every year until you have the guy. And then when you have the guy, you don't draft quarterback.
2020 Dallas Cowboys got Ben DiNucci. 2018 they got Mike White. There he is. 2016 that's when they got Dak. So,
but I mean, look what happened. They got Dak in the 3rd round.
True.
Right. So I mean, and then the other quarterback you talked about, Tony Romo, he wasn't even drafted. He was
that is true.
So I mean, every once in a while you can hit one, and if you hit, I mean, think about Tony Romo being undrafted. You can sign him to a 5-year deal for almost no money.
That is true.
And now your team isn't hamstrung. And that's the deal. That right there is the key. That's why teams always want to draft a quarterback in the 1st round of the draft, because if they hit on that guy, they're going to sign him to a 5-year deal, and it'll be 4 years guaranteed. The 5th year is a team option. And in those 5 years, if that quarterback blossoms into somebody that's worth a shit, you can spend all your other free agent money on defense or wide receivers or offensive line or whatever you want to spend it on, and build a stellar team around this guy. And then those guys are already signed to contracts. So then when you do have to pay your quarterback, you can at least have those guys for 2 or 3 more years and try to win a Super Bowl. I mean, it seems like that's the formula that every team does. Now, not every team is good at it, but
that's true.
What they're doing.
We brought up Danny Dimes. Did you see Kenny Galladay?
Who the hell is that?
Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. Come on, man.
No. You can't give a guy a nickname if he's got a losing record. Fuck that. Go win some football games, and then maybe we can call you that.
Look, Danny Dimes.
Like, I never understood Matty Ice. How do you give Matty Ice a nickname?
Because that dude was so cold.
When is he cold? In the 4th quarter when his team fucking needs him? Or I mean, what are we talking about here? Because he hasn't won shit.
Believe he is a former MVP, sir.
Did he win the Super Bowl?
Well, then there's a lot of quarterbacks on that list that didn't win the Super Bowl, but are still considered greats.
I can think of 2 off the top of my head that are Hall of Fame quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I want to hear your 2, though.
Well, obviously, Dan Marino and Warren Moon. Other than that, name me another quarterback that is a Hall of Fame worthy quarterback that we've talked about that hasn't won the Super Bowl.
That's Hall of Fame worthy?
Hall of Fame worthy or in the Hall of Fame, either one.
I honestly think that Matt Ryan's going to get in. I think with the quarterbacks that we've grown up with, like, there's a chance that there's going to be more quarterbacks that come in just based off stat records, because they're lasting longer than the former ones. They've got more protection. They've got more rules that makes the quarterback more of a standout.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like because of the way the game has changed, you're going to have some quarterbacks in, like, the last 10 or 15 years that have benefited from those changes, and the stat numbers have jumped. And so, yeah, you'll probably have a few guys that sneak in, but then I believe the NFL and, like, the writers and whoever votes for Hall of Fame, they'll realize, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy isn't as great as his stats sound because he benefited from the rule changes. So
now,
I personally don't think Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer.
What about Phillip Rivers?
I don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
He's going to get in.
I mean, he probably will, but once again, he made the NFL playoffs with the number 1 offense, the number 1 defense, and the number 1 special teams in the league, and got bounced out in the 1st round after going 14-2 during the regular season.
Yeah.
So, okay, like, I understand. I am the biggest proponent for not using winning the Super Bowl against a quarterback. I think that's the dumbest stat. I think, win-loss record is dumb. You have to base a quarterback off of what they do athletically, because, if they're scoring 40 points in a game and their defense gives up 41, we're not talking about them at the end of the year. So
right.
Can you really put that on a quarterback? But when you have a quarterback like Matt Ryan, who's had a plethora of wide receivers and running backs run through that team.
Nice choice of
And
words.
well, I mean, he's never amounted to anything, right? Like the best they ever did was they were up 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and then they got Tom Brady. So I mean,
Yeah.
they were there, they had it, but what was the catalyst that caused them to lose? It was a Matt Ryan fumble.
So bring up your question, and I'm looking at the list of QBs in the Hall of Fame, and I might be wrong on it, huh?
There's only like 28 or 29.
Something like that.
Okay.
Jim Kelly.
Okay, so he didn't win this. Yeah, I mean, but he made it to 4 straight Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and I would assume, yeah, that's kind of the asterisk. Him and Dan Marino, they didn't win a Super Bowl. They're in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Now what? Now they're not in the Hall of Fame, so I'm not going to bring them up. Never mind. Yeah, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame, and you look at the ones that are there, and outside of Manning, you don't see really many from the generation that we're growing up with, right? Granted,
Well, I mean, that's just
some
because
are
they're
still
not
playing,
retired.
or they're not retired, or they haven't hit the 5 year mark, or whatever.
Exactly.
But I mean, you've got Kurt Warner, Unitas.
I would think Kurt Warner is a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
That's just me.
Uh,
He's
friend,
borderline though.
Why borderline?
Because he doesn't have like the longevity of a career. I want to say he only has. I don't even know if he has an NFL MVP actually.
Ooh.
I know he's got a Super Bowl MVP, but I don't think he won league MVP. Maybe he did one time, but he didn't sound, or like thinking back on his career, it doesn't seem like he was as dominant as some of these other players.
No, he does have one.
Okay, so
1999.
Yeah, so the 1 year they won the Super Bowl and they were the greatest show on.
Oh, and he got it in 2001, so he has 2 with the Rams.
Oh, okay, but that was, I mean, did you look at the team that he was on?
Well, yeah, the best team on the turf, man.
Yeah, so I mean, but I don't think that makes him a Hall of Famer. I mean, to me, I guess what I'm saying is, I guess that makes him borderline. So Matt Ryan has 1 MVP.
Okay.
So I guess that technically means that at one time he was the best at his position.
Yeah, because if you take him away from that team, were they that good? No.
Well, I mean, him on that team, they're still not very good.
Well, that one season he was. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got off on this little tangent of.
Well, because we like.
Oh, we were talking about Danny Dimes, and we just drifted away from that.
And I got mad at you because you gave him a fucking nickname.
I didn't give him that. I didn't name him Danny Dimes.
Who gave him that nickname?
Some powers that be in the sports world named him Danny Dimes.
Well, that's dumb.
Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, and the New York Giants recently purchased Kenny Golladay for $72 million, something like that, some big contract for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Is this make or break for Daniel Jones? They're putting a team around him. They're looking on paper. To me, I'm comparing them to almost the Cleveland Browns on paper. The Cleveland Browns on paper are a phenomenal team. Then you start watching them, with the exception of last year, they actually came together. The 2019 season, I was super excited to see the Browns and everybody was there because I'm kind of a hidden Baker Mayfield fan because I think he can actually be something if he just pull his head out of his ass. But the New York Giants are starting to look like a team that others need to worry about.
Well, so the deal with Baker is I liked him coming out of college because his completion percentage was so high. And he also had the most throws over 20 yards in college. Mm-hmm. So he had a high completion percentage and he was throwing the ball down the field. It wasn't like these little smoke screens everybody else runs. But I think what you saw out of Baker was 2018, he looked pretty good. 2019, he had the sophomore slump that most quarterbacks have. And then in 2020, it's like, oh my God, this guy knows how to be a professional all of a sudden. And he played pretty well down the stretch. So, I mean, I'm kind of a closet Baker Mayfield fan also. really, I kind of became a Baker Mayfield fan when he planted the flag in the ground. I know
Yes.
you're not supposed to do that,
That
but
was
that
baller,
was
dude.
pretty ballsy. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. I'm
I
not a big
really like
fan of
that.
the celebration and all that kind of stuff, but that was badass. So I feel like you're right. Baker Mayfield has shown a lot of transition and a lot of change, but I mean he had to. They put all those pieces around him. So yeah, for Daniel Jones, um, I don't know if it's necessarily a make or break season. But if he doesn't show any improvement, then yeah, they're going to start looking to draft another
They're
quarterback.
gonna have to, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can only give these guys so long, but you put him in there. You have a shitty offensive line. Saquon Barkley got hurt last year, so I would say you could take last year out. Last year was just a mulligan. This year you start fresh, and yeah, with Kenny Galladay on the outside, I mean that's a hell of a pickup.
So their starting lineup right now, like you said, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram. Like
That's dynamic.
that's actually a pretty damn good offense. And then you look at some of the backups on them. Kyle Rudolph is now a giant. If
Wow.
Evan Ingram goes down or shits the bed, you got Kyle Rudolph. Kyle
Or you
Rudolph,
can run both of them on the field at the same time.
that's pretty scary too because Kyle Rudolph, I think, is still somewhat of a good tight end. Like,
Yeah,
I'm really surprised that Minnesota went ahead and said, no, we're going to go with Irv Smith Jr. or Irv Smith third or whatever his name is.
Junior. Well, I mean,
And
Irv Smith is a pretty good talent. Also,
he is, but
Kyle
what
Rudolph is way older.
can they not run a double tight end system in Minnesota? Is that too much for Kirk Cousins? Like,
Well, I don't think that it's too much for Kirk Cousins. I think that they like to run a single tight end because they run the zone blocking scheme and they like to run play action off of that. And I just think it works better having one tight end. That way, it always looks like you're going to throw the ball.
I'm surprised, but not surprised that Kenny Galladay went there. I'm glad to see that he went to a team that's probably going to respect him a little bit more than the Lions did.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
And I think we're going to probably see a big year out of Galladay if him and Daniel Jones can sync up together.
I mean, yeah, if they can get on the same page, Kenny Galladay is a go get it wide receiver. I like him.
I do think the surprise of Juju staying with Pittsburgh, I wasn't expecting that. I really thought that he was going to go test the market, go somewhere else, and he didn't. He took less money just to stay with
Yeah, I was going to
the
say, he
Steelers.
even took a pay cut
Right.
to stay there, which I never thought that was going to happen.
I'm very surprised by that. There's something going on in Pittsburgh to where you're going to take a top wide receiver like that and convince him to take less money. What do they got going on? What are they
I
bringing?
mean, it's weird to me, I guess, because he took $8 million. Will Fuller got paid 10.6 for one season.
That's bonkers.
Well, and so yeah, in my case, like what I'm saying is, if you had two wide receivers standing next to each other, and you're going to pay them the same amount of money, right? That's if you're going to pay them the same amount of money. You're going to pick Will Fuller or Juju?
I would take Juju in a heartbeat.
Yeah, hands down. It's not even close.
So I'm glad you brought up Miami. Does this change their draft pick now? Do they go ahead and trade that number 3 pick? Do they?
Well, I mean, if you believe in Tua, yeah, you trade the number 3 pick.
So a lot of the mocks put them getting Devontae Smith from Bama as a wide
lot
receiver.
of the drafts that I'm seeing, mock drafts I'm seeing, are showing them trading back, which I find weird.
Now, was that after the signing of Will Fuller, or is that before?
Well, it was today, so I guess it's technically after.
Right.
I don't think Will Fuller has anything to do with it.
Well, you look at it now; they have Devontae Parker and Will Fuller. Will Fuller still has the speed, somewhat of a hand, and I mean they went for him for a reason. They're not just throwing $10 million at the guy just to look at his ding ding.
Well, but his contract, they're not going to have to pay him for 4 games, right? Because he's suspended. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe I don't know how the contract stuff works, but he's suspended for 4 games. And the reason why he's suspended for 4 games is because he tested positive for performance enhancing drugs. So that was the only year he played 15 games. He only played 15 games because he was suspended for the last game of the season. So I don't know if that changes anything. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think Will Fuller is a big enough piece for any of those things to matter. I think they're signing him to a 1-year deal just to kind of see what he'll do. And if he shows up and he plays well, then maybe they sign him again. But I don't think that would deter me from drafting Jamar Chase or drafting Devontae Smith, because those both of those guys are better.
Yeah.
And they haven't even played it down in the NFL. But there is the case of you're drafting them in the first round at the number 3 pick. Are you going to have to commit a whole bunch of money to these guys, and they haven't proven anything? So there is that too.
I will say, some of the teams were actually pretty smart with how they spent their money in this free agency, especially on your 1-year contracts. With the exception of Miami. Miami paying that 1-year deal with Will Fuller is kind of crazy, and for these test the market, test the waters kind of deal contracts, like I saw a lot of teams that spent money for the right people at the right price. Your bigger contracts like your Kenny Galladay, I think that was a good price for him. We already talked about Trent Williams. I think that was a ridiculous amount of money for an old. I hate using the word old because I'm older than he is, but in NFL years, he's up there, right? I'm trying to think who else had a good contract. I think Houston with Philip Lindsay for a 1-year deal was actually a decent price, and I see him taking over the starting role and possibly being a long-term running back for the Texans.
I think honestly, I think a lot of these guys that are younger taking 1-year deals, they know that the salary cap is going to go back up now that these NFL contracts with TV have gone through. And so I feel like they're taking a 1-year contract, kind of betting on themselves, and then cashing in next year. Because I'm with you. I think Philip Lindsay comes into Houston. I think he takes over the starting role.
He's got to.
I mean, I don't think he has to.
For his own safety, his own career, he's got to step up. And
no, I guess that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I feel like he's talented enough that he's just going to show up on day one, and they're going to be impressed with what he brings.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and so I think that he's going to take it over. I mean, Xavier Rhodes signed a 1-year deal with Indianapolis to stay there. I think that's another person that's signing a 1-year contract so that next year he can get a 3-year deal. I think he's going to end up getting a 3-year deal next year and then just retiring as a Colt because he's already 31, so next year he's 32. That gives him a contract of 35. So I'm good with that. AJ Green. How about AJ Green signing a 1-year deal for $6 million for Arizona?
I'm not excited about that just because of the fact that AJ Green is up there in years.
He's 33.
In NFL years, you're
almost dead.
I
do think it's funny that the Arizona Cardinals Twitter account, they tweeted out AJ Green on one side and DeAndre Hopkins on the other side. Who are you going to double team? And I was like, I tweeted back. I was like, you're going to double team DeAndre Hopkins and you might cover AJ Green with a safety. Get the fuck out of here. What's the matter with you?
I get it. The marketing team over there, or the social media account handler over there, is trying to hype it up. And I mean, good for AJ Green for still having a job and not getting dumped. But like, I'm not excited about it. And maybe it's because of the past few years he's been injured and he didn't really have a quarterback and he didn't do anything flashy. And
well, so let me ask you this question.
Okay.
So AJ Green gets a 1-year, $6 million contract at 33.
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel Sanders also got a 1-year deal at $6 million at 34.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had those two guys standing next to each other, who are you going to pick?
I'm probably going to go with Emmanuel Sanders.
I am 100% because I know that guy is.
The dude's got hands.
Well, he's got hands. He knows when he goes across the middle, he's going to get hit, and he holds on to the football. Like this guy, I mean, I know I'm probably partial because I watched him play in Denver.
Right.
But that guy, to me, he goes about the game the right way. He plays hard. He gives everything he has for his team. And I think Emmanuel Sanders on the other side of Stephon Diggs, damn. And then you still have Cole Beasley in the slot.
Bro, those three right there, I think we're going to be hearing all three of their names a lot.
Well, I mean, I think it definitely. I bet Josh Allen woke up when he heard about the Emmanuel Sanders signing, and
Just
he was ready to go to work, man.
that dude was like pinching tents right there,
Oh,
just
for sure.
ready.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. Who do we? And
Yeah.
we have and oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, I'm gonna go lift right now.
I'm telling you, man, the Bills are gonna be a dangerous team.
They look pretty good. I mean, do we make anything of Jacoby Brissett signing in Miami behind Tua? Are we
No.
going to talk about that? Is that a big deal?
It's not.
Okay.
But I do want to talk on real quick. Is Fitzmagic in Washington? Washington is doing some things, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Like we talked about the Giants doing things. Washington be doing some things.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm not 100% sure what they're trying to do. I feel like it does make them better.
Oh yeah.
I think Dwayne Haskins is basically a bust. I mean,
Well, that's why he's not there anymore. That's why he's in Pittsburgh.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like they messed up with that. I feel like Alex Smith was, just too broken.
I think they should have held on to him. Not put him as a starter, but they should have held on to him.
I honestly think that maybe he just needs to retire. I'm too scared of his leg. I mean, after seeing he got hit a couple times and it was bleeding and everything.
That dude's showing that there is no quit. There is no quit in that man.
No, I definitely don't want to knock him, his competitive nature or who he is as a man or anything like that. I'm thinking more of I'm honestly just scared he's going to get hurt again. Like I don't want him to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like I feel sorry that he's going to be out there.
You're trying to protect
his
him.
Life, and he might break his leg again and not like. He was so close to getting his leg amputated, I guess is the idea. And so I'm scared for him to almost get his leg amputated again. I definitely don't want to see him go through that shit again.
With him stepping back out on the field, if it came to that, I think he would think it was worth it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean,
nobody wants to see it, of course, but if
not at all.
If he wants to go out there and ball out, let him play, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I just wish I could say for certain he's not going to break his leg again or he's not going to lose his leg. That's what scares me the most. It makes me nervous that it's even in the conversation. That's all. That's more of what I'm thinking.
I know we say it every episode, but dude, I can't wait for the draft to be over with, and just I'm ready for the season to start. I'm ready to see what happens.
See where all these names are going to go, how they're going to filter in the depth chart. Who's going to be the breakout star? Who's going to be the new guy? Like, I'm excited, dude.
Before we head out, I want to play a quick game with you.
Okay.
It's called Hide the Pickle. I mean, no, I'm sorry.
We can't do that on camera.
I'm going to give you 4 teams. Okay. And the teams are blue, red, green, and orange.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to give a shout out to Rounds Up Sports on TikTok because they're the one that presented this and I'm stealing it. So,
okay.
All right. Team blue. I don't know if you need a pen and paper. All right.
Probably.
There's 3 people per team: quarterback, running back, and wide receiver.
Okay.
All right. Team blue.
Quarterback, running back, wide receiver.
Yep.
Wait. So you said 4, I thought.
4 teams, 3 players per team.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right.
Team blue is Tom Brady,
okay.
Walter Payton, Calvin Johnson. Wow. Team green is Joe Montana, Barry Sanders, Terrell Owens.
Wow.
Team orange is Drew Brees, Jim Brown, Ray Rice. Or not Ray Rice, Jerry Rice.
Wow.
Team red.
Team Brees, that's Joe. Brees is Jerry Rice.
And Jim Brown.
Jim Brown?
Yep.
Good God.
And team red is Peyton Manning, Eric Dickerson, Randy Moss.
Oh my God.
Who are you taking? What is your team?
Hold on. Peyton, and Randy Moss, and who was the running back?
Eric Dickerson.
Oh my God. Let me write all this down and just bask in the glory. So Tom Brady, Walter Payton, and Calvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then Joe Montana, Barry Sanders, and T.O. Breeze, Jim Brown, and Jerry Rice. Peyton Manning, Eric Dickerson. Dude, I'm going with Peyton Manning's team. Because I think Eric Dickerson is probably the best running back fucking ever. And then Randy Moss. Oh my God. Because, like, you're plugging in like generic offensive lines and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
So, okay, so you stack the box because you got to stop Eric Dickerson, so Randy Moss gets one-on-one coverage. Peyton Manning's just kind of got to get it in the area code, and it's a touchdown.
You can kind of say that about any of these teams, pretty much, right?
I mean, okay, but
I'm more.
Let's do this. Let's do this because the best way to do it is a ranking system. Okay, and then lowest number of the ranking system would classify the best team. So out of these 4 quarterbacks, who's number 4? Drew Brees, I guess.
No, number 4, Montana.
Okay, you're saying Joe Montana is number 4, so he's the worst of the 4 quarterbacks.
Yep.
Okay, so then Brees would be number 3.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're going to argue over 2 and 1. I guess you're going to say Tom Brady's number 1, and I'm
absolutely
not. So I'm going to give Tom Brady a 2 on my paper because fuck you. And Peyton gets number 1. All right, so out of the running backs, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Jim Brown, Eric Dickerson. God, this is ridiculous. I feel like it's blasphemy to even rank these guys.
It really is.
But so who's your number 4? Who's your worst running back?
Probably Jim Brown.
Oh my God. I can't even write a number 4 next to Jim Brown. This is so.
You're going to hell for this.
Like I feel like my hand is burning because I just wrote that. So then to me, Walter Payton has to be number 3, right? Isn't that terrible? And then who's your number 1 between Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
I'm going to give it to Eric Dickerson. But, okay, just for sake of argument, we'll give it to Barry Sanders. We'll make Eric Dickerson number 2. So then who's your best wide receiver? Because I've always said Jerry Rice is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and Randy Moss is number 2, and it's really, really close. So if I give Jerry Rice number 1 and I give Randy Moss number 2, to me, T.O. is number 3, and then Calvin Johnson's 4.
Hands down.
So T.O.'s 3, Calvin Johnson's 4. All right, so then if you add them up, I don't know what the colors were. What was Tom Brady's color?
Blue.
And then Joe Montana?
Green.
Breeze?
Orange.
And then
red.
Red. Okay, so Team Blue averages 3. All right, so then Team Green, 7, 8, they average just under 3. Right, so 2.7, we'll say. And then Breeze's team, Orange, 7, 8, they average 8, same thing, 2.7. And then Peyton Manning's team, they average less than 2. Right, because they score 5 total points.
Mm-hmm.
And you divide that by 3. Right.
So the lower number is the better team?
The lowest number is the best team.
Wow.
And so I think with Eric Dickerson and Randy Moss getting a 2, even if you give Peyton a 2, right? You say Tom Brady's better than Peyton, which I don't agree. But let's just say
you've already said on tape that he's the GOAT, so
it was an accident. Everyone has a lapse of judgment. But I'm just saying, even if you give Peyton Manning a 2 as a ranking, that's still only 6 points. They're still 2 points better than every other team.
This is why I like bringing this up, because this is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these players and I'm thinking, man, you pick whatever team you want. I'll take the second pick and I'm still good. But I just feel like the limitation for all right, so for Tom Brady's team, the limitation is not Tom Brady or Walter Payton, it's Calvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're going to be limited a little bit there. I mean, he's still a beast, but for the Joe Montana team, the limitation is Joe Montana.
Right.
Right? And then For the Drew Brees team, the limitation is Drew Brees.
No.
I mean, it's not Jim Brown. Jim Brown would just run around or over anybody. Drew Brees he's the most accurate quarterback I've probably ever seen.
And you have one of the best wide receivers receiving them.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh.
So, I mean, that team's pretty.
Oh.
And then, but, I mean, the drawback on Peyton Manning's team is Peyton Manning can't throw the ball all the way down the field.
And his forehead.
Well, that doesn't usually stop him from anything. But, I mean, even if you underthrow him, like Randy Moss is still going to moss everybody.
Hands down, like that is all that. See, this is what I wish would happen. And hopefully in the future, the powers that be that are listening to the show will take my advice, because my advice is always gold. You should go ahead and start a
advice, and you were drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning on the last podcast.
I got a lot of love for that.
Yes.
And my AA meeting starts next week. Off season, flag football, 7-on-7, quarterbacks get to pick, are the team captains, and they get to pick prior to the season beginning, and you get to see these teams that we want to see, something like this, happen. You get to see Russell Wilson with Stephon Diggs. You get to see Tom Brady with Odell.
The problem with your idea is that all of these guys that you mentioned are all under contract, and there's no way in hell that their NFL team would allow them to do this.
It's all for charity.
Okay, well, even if it's all for charity, they're not going to go all out.
So Tampa Bay's against cancer children. I get it.
I mean, that's not what I said.
That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said.
I guess. I'm just thinking that
it's for the children.
So they get to pick their offensive guys. But in this instance, like Eric Dickerson would be null and void in the 7-on-7 tournament.
Why is that?
He's a running back.
Okay.
His strength is running the football between the tackles.
You can still run on flag football. You still get an O-line.
You said 7-on-7. No, you don't.
You're not.
7-on-7 eliminates the offensive line.
Not always.
Like 100% of the time.
Okay, so if you have 3 linemen,
well, I mean, just think about it.
A running back, a quarterback, and 2 wide receivers.
That's what I'm saying. No, if you eliminate offense, or if you do 7-on-7, you only have 11 people on the field. The 4 you're eliminating are left tackle, left guard, right tackle.
You have to have protection for the QBs.
Why? It's 7-on-7. There's nobody rushing.
Yeah, there is. There's still a defense. They're not just playing coverage the whole time.
Yes, they are. Have you played in 7-on-7?
Fuck it. Make it 3-on-3 then. How about that?
Dude, yeah, no. What you do is
it's for the cancer children, damn it.
You take all the teams that don't make the Super Bowl, and you have them all be in the draft class, and you can play a 6-game arena league season.
Oh, I don't like it.
That should just like be signed into the contract.
I don't like it.
And that way you don't have not spring games. You don't have preseason. You have them play like off-season football.
I don't like arena football. I tried to get into the FCF. I tried to get into the arena football.
There's no fucking pleasing you. You know this? This is garbage. I'm giving you a golden idea.
My idea was golden.
All over it.
It's trash. You're trash, kid. Hot dog water.
I hate you.
I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. Don't forget you can find us on all social media outlets with YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Hulu, Disney Plus.
Alexa knows who we are too. So
that is correct. So if you need to find us, holler at your Alexa. If you're listening to us now, hey Alexa, find Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. We're expanding, folks. We're trying to get out to everywhere so you can hear us any time of the day, anywhere, on any device.
On any of those platforms, please like, subscribe, let us know that you're there. Give us some comments, give us some feedback.
And the feedback we're getting right now, we love. We love the hate, we love the good, we love everything that's coming our way. Please continue to do so. This is for fun. We're having a blast with it. We're going to keep doing it regardless if we have 1 or 1 million listeners. This is This is a blast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're my spirit animal.
Yeah. I think we are our talk show soulmates.
Well, man, another great episode. All y'all listening, thank you again. We'll see you on the next one. Adios, assholes.